I make a den, mark your calendars, nor weigh the consequences, because that would be the Swedish thing. Otherwise, I'm finishing this town. With that being said, let's round up the morning. Classic Einstein. This JFK, this JFK was over here. We're already printing something else. You got the rock fist. I think there's about 4 of these that need made, so we're making more. This snaky boy came loose, which sucks. These are very cool. I don't sell that many of them. I really wish they were a better selling item. This hammerhead's doing well, stringy but well. As always, there is a shark. Coffee cup lid coming out like a champ. Love to see it. This is the new alien that I talked about last night, or yesterday rather. Can't really tell very much about it, but it is coming along just wonderful. We'll do a little packaging. This is a classic Moai 2 right here. This is one of my older gaming products. This is actually a deck holder for a game called Gloomhaven, and I just happen to have the perfect size box for it. That is really satisfying. Let's package up this Sharky boy. Fact. Just about every guy who is a 80s or 90s kid modeled their sense of humor after one of the late night talk show hosts. I think mine was Letterman. The Celtic Skull trash can. And now it's time to take these gentlemen to Klein's. Shades on, fade song. You ever think, like, maybe the reason musical chairs seemed so disturbing when you were a kid is because it was like they were trying to tell you that that's what your life is going to be like. That most people are going to make it, but the person that doesn't make it might be you. That bass line is so good. In the same way that I try to greet the day with enthusiasm, I'm about to greet this coffee with enthusiasm. I want my iced coffee. To dunk or not to dunk? To dunk. America runs on M3 is 3D, but I run on Duncan. I think I'm feeling like I really need to be making new products. Like, it's been a couple weeks since I really made anything new. Mainly because it's just been so busy, but I'm feeling the hunger. I'm feeling the hunger for something new. It's always a little sad when I have to take the sunglasses off. Maybe my goal in life is to be a sunglasses person all the time. I like having them there. I love it when the guy actually picks up the packages. Just felt like appreciating this for a second. It just really sucks when he just doesn't pick up the packages even though he's scheduled to do so. So I also want to validate when he does do the thing that he's supposed to do. This might be really nerdy, but I just figured out something that's, for me at least, kind of a big deal. You might remember that I got a thrust bearing for the filament extruder here. The problem I ran into is the thrust bearings that I originally got were slightly the wrong size, but later I found some thrust bearings that are actually the right size, so I decided to switch it out because it wasn't quite working perfectly. I'm not exactly sure how to express this, but this thrust bearing goes up against this little lip here. if you see that lip, it's meant to kind of push up against that. And the reason that is a thing is because this entire column will get pushed back by the back pressure from the plastic here. This is an auger screw. So the auger screw pushes against the plastic, but that creates back pressure, which pushes the whole screw backwards. The screw is attached to this. This is attached to the shaft in the motor, and the motor can come out the back of here. Now the reason this is bad is because if this shaft gets pushed out like here, the motor just stops working. So you don't want that. And actually what happens, this coupling rubs up against this thing. You can see that it's got a little bit of frayed metal there, and it starts grinding, and that's where you get these metal flakes. So the question is, how do we keep that from happening? Basically what causes this auger screw to go backwards is there being a gap between that lip and the thrust bearing here. You can see that there's some play there. So the question is, like, how do we get this flush? Because there's nothing to grab onto. My first thought was to take the nozzle off, and this thing needs to push back a little bit. Take the nozzle off and push against the screw directly, but that's gonna be really messy. So what I figured out to do is to take something and push this screw back here. One potential problem with doing this though is you might sort of push this whole thing back and thus get this to stick out more than it is. So what we're going to do, the old needle nose vice grips are gonna hold this shaft in place. We're gonna use pliers to kind of wedge in there and then do a lever action. So that's what we're gonna do. Now watch the gap here. Perfectly flush against the thrust bearing. That is keeping that in place, and this is not sticking out more than it should. So this is a very, oh, I got something on the camera. So yeah, this is nerdy, but this was a solution to a problem that has been plaguing me for like forever. So this thing was working. We weren't really having super big problems, but that is kind of like the last thing I had to figure out in order to get this to be just perfect. Everything tightened and it's all good. Oh, sorry, the phone was out for a while, but we got the burger painted and I'm gonna show you what it looks like sort of put together. This isn't quite the done version. I still have to get another color of a lighter brown to fade this into, because you're trying to make it look toasted. But yeah, I mean, it's a burger. This kitty cat is going to its forever home. Well, it's been a long day. Got a ton done and I am exhausted. But I'm grateful that my feet are feeling good. Those cushioned sandals are like amazing. I'm glad that everything's headed in the right direction. I'm glad that sales have been good. And I'm glad that I probably can get the second filament setup done pretty soon. And I'm glad these things are getting videos. I'm glad I get to go on road trips every so often. Those episodes are fun to do. And it's just fun to get away from the surroundings and the familiar stuff. But I need to get a shave and a shower. So write down in the comments what you're dealing with, what you're overcoming, what struggles you have, what your dreams are. But most importantly, put down what you're thankful for. Because we're trying to cultivate that gratitude. Peace out.